back. It's Cork Stats on this Freaky Friday, powered by the Mayo Media Net here on YouTube and presented by Jock MKT, the app where you make money. What a crazy idea. How about that, Apple? We were up in the jock market again, throwing our weight around, using the stacks we gave you at the prices we gave you, cashing those tickets, baby. Download the app for free and use the promo code MMN, Mayo Media Net. They're going to match the first $100 for free. If it's free, it's for me. And the $100 is more than enough to do damage. We were in there yesterday again, doing exactly the thing that we do. Jock mark a green ticket up on the screen for the audio-only listeners. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. No people like to catch me. Maybe you don't want to look at this facia bruta. I understand. No worries there. But if you can get over to the video, and maybe grab screenshots and stuff, it can be helpful. Yesterday, these are the names we gave you. Farmer, Hayes. Now, Reynolds, he was not on the list, but remember, when we identify a stack, if there's a hitter that matches that criteria that's under $4, you got to jump on it. And that was Matt Reynolds yesterday. We talked about having all the Reds righties. He was coming in under $4. We swept back, grabbed a few shares. Reynolds went yard. But we had Farmer at the top. He was the second player, or the third player on the board. Excuse me. He was excellent. And Austin Hayes as well. But listen, the lesson here is price. I think we really have found our stride here in jock market as the game evolves, which is why we like it so much. It's really not stagnant. We're going to stick to the 6 or 8 players here on the stack report when we identify the gas cans for the day, and look for the prices below $5.50. How about that? If you're using the promo code, I would probably avoid players above $6 or $6.50. Again, we don't want to swing and miss. You want to build slowly. I actually haven't put a single dollar into this. I'm still using the free promo code, and we're up near that all-time high, right around $3,500. So the first pillar of profit here at Mayo Media Net is those daily stacks. I mentioned the gas can report. I think that's really what this has turned into. So the very first one we had, the game is actually not on the jock market slate, something that I've said I was going to try and focus on being better at, and I guess I was, right? That's a little better and a little worse. I broke down the game. It's not on the slate, but I think we have to take a strong look at this because remember, if it's not on DraftKings, FanDuel, or jock market, I believe these players are all really viable for total base props. I was on VSiN yesterday with Danny, and we had the Baltimore F5 circled. That was a hit. But we also had Trey Mancini, total base prop. He got the double in the first inning. And when you're cashing $1.25 odds in the first inning, that's really, really awesome. So keep an eye on that. All right, we're looking at it's Cincinnati and Washington. Josiah Gray versus Mike Minor. Didn't know Mike Minor was back. Well, he is. Josiah Gray, +5 ERA, 1.36 whip, 830 OPS in the year, 11% walk, 51% fly ball, 15% barrel. You can see where I'm going. 1,100 OPS to lefties. The fastball and the slider, +830 X slug, 8 home runs on those 2 pitches. So we got to be looking at Joey Votto again. He hit a ding dong yesterday, so he's good for the total base prop. I also think Votto is probably a nice home run play, depending on the odds. I'm really not paying +300 anymore. You got to get at me with +350 or better. If not, I'll take my odds on the total base prop. Other side, we'd be looking for Washington righties versus Mike Minor. So I think Josh Bell, Nelson Cruz, and Victor Robles. I know some sites actually allow you to parlay total base props. I love that. Getting up into a single game, looking for the blow up that we're looking for. And again, if we have 2 gas cans, we're probably playing for the over. I think I saw it at 9.5 or 10 over full game, which would be viable. Once we're at 10.5, I usually don't go for 11. All right, let's get up into the actual stuff you can use. I have a couple of stacks here. So we're looking at the Tampa Bay Rays righties against Vinny Velasquez, 5.6 ERA, 1.4 whip, bunch of bad math as well, 45% fly ball, 45% hard hit at 95 miles an hour, 14% barrel, and a +900 OPS to righties. It's especially the fastball basket there. The fastball plus the sinking fastball to righties each have a 740 X slug, minimum 4 home runs combined on those pitches. So we're looking at Randy Arozarena and Manny Margot. I also had Isaac Paredes circled, but he's not on the slate. If you are playing daily, I'd like guys like that, really, the backfill. A guy like Paredes, if he's playing, is probably going to be min-priced. you got to get with him in those. It'll help you kind of boost the rest of the values. And again, I got to be honest, the way I look at this stack report, I've honestly gotten to the point in DraftKings and stuff, I don't even care about the leftovers. Because I find sometimes I leave a guy that my model picked for a better guy on paper or something like that, and it's stupid. Salaries are arbitrary. I don't even care. As I get older, I guess. So there's just a hint for everyone out there. I don't really care about salaries in DraftKings. All right, next up, Kansas City Royal righties against Urquidy. This one is some good team bias going on. Urquidy's really struggled, man. I don't think people are on it. Brady single-arm dude is an underdog. Wink, wink. You can see where we're going to be going later on with that. 4.8 ERA, 1.6 whip. Now listen, 2 points create a line, right? Any 2 points create a line. Not all 3 points create a line. That's why I like to use OPS as my third point of surface statistics to kind of invalidate or validate. OPS at 900 for the year. So you can forget a sub-5 ERA. If you have a 1.6 whip and a 900 OPS, your ERA probably should be north of 6. 43 fly ball, 47 hard hit, right? There's those running themes again, 12 barrel, and struggling with the fastball. The righties, we've seen a bit of that this year. I am getting while the getting is good. 842 X-Lug from righties against the Urquidy fastball and 5 home runs. So we'll be looking at Huwitt Merrifield. We'll be looking at Bobby Huwitt. And especially the big dog I have circled is Hunter Dozier. Play of the day. 28% barrel, 10% blast against right-handed fastballs on the year. So there's your stacks. Man, why do I feel like I had somebody else, and I probably like a race or something, I swear. I had another one. So get at me throughout the day. I think this really counts for everything. Get at me during the day to kind of fill in the rest of the gaps, right? As lineups come out and weather comes out, sometimes pitchers are changed. We find out there's openers or followers or anything in between. So make sure you follow me up on Twitter at MLB Moving Averages. That's at MLB Moving AVG on the Bird app. Or, you could comment on YouTube below. You could comment at the podcast. You could comment on Twitter. Tag us all. I will get to every single one of you, especially my Jock Market people pushed to the front of the line. All right, so that's the daily stack in the gas can report. Let's get into the fantasy side of things. Friday's a bit weird, because there's so much to do. I won't see you for a couple days, and it's like, how do you cover everything? So I'm just doing my best to cover everything. I got to have all 30 teams and some news and notes for the weekend. People will be filling out lineups, but not everybody. So I didn't really want to just make this a lineup show. Some people are like, what am I going to do with that? So I got a little bit of everything. Check it out. Let's do it the way only we can do it here. The nuance of context and the Tasmanian Devil coming at you. 115 EV off the crack of the bat. Let's start with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Humberto Castellanos to the IL. So we got to be looking for Tyler Gilbert and Corbin Martin, right? Pitching has been really tough. Something we've been covering all year. You're going to have to be first. So keep an eye on those guys. Maybe add them where you can. They also have a very tough matchup at Pitt, even though there are no lefties, right? It's Randy Contreras, Zach Thompson. These guys have been very good. Next up, Atlanta Braves are at Colorado. So it's all Braves systems go. On the other side, I'm really careful with starting pitchers. Like, I don't even start a guy like Max Fried is pitching in Coors, and I'm not really starting him. I mean, you start your Rockies against, of course, no matter what, when they're home. Next up, Baltimore Orioles with the big disappointment late in the game yesterday. Face no lefties in Cleveland, but they do have Bieber and McKenzie. Going to be a tough go for the Orioles. Boston is at Oakland. They face no lefties, but also they have Frankie Montas and Paul Lee Blackburn. So it's a bit of a tough matchup, but Boston is raking. The offense is pretty much solid. Stick with the Red Sox. Chicago Cubs have 4 games against St. Louis. So that's really one of the things we're doing here for the lineup people, right? You're making sure you're starting your Cubs, you're starting your Cardinals. The Cubs will be facing one lefty. I did notice in the lineups that Ortega is a sit right now. He sat the last 4. Clint Frazier is back and started. Maybe it's Clint Frazier season. Also make sure that Morel is owned. Also Smiley out for a month. Chicago White Sox at Tampa. 2 lefties. Shane Mack. They also have Drew Rasmussen. Tough go for the White Sox. It's been a tough go for them in general. Next up, Cincinnati Reds are at Washington versus one lefty. I just have circled here. It's like the gas can series. It's the big scoring series. Backfill all of your Reds and all of your Nats. Next up, Cleveland Guardians are at Baltimore. They have one lefty in Zimmerman. And I did notice Kwan is sitting against lefties for Palacios. He hasn't been very good. You're probably sitting Stephen Kwan. Colorado Rockies home in Coors against Atlanta for 3. Very tough pitching matchup for them. I had it circled. This is on the other side the Atlanta side, I'm sorry, I put it in the wrong column, to watch Duvall's playing time. He's been sitting for Heredia. So that's the Braves, but it is the same series for Colorado. Of course, you're starting everybody in Coors. Detroit Rock City are at the Yankees in the Bronx. Man, they have a tough go. They're facing Gerrit Cole, Severino, and J-Mont. Also, I noticed Javi Baez has sat the last 2 games. Keep an eye on him. If he sits one more, he might be injured, right? Next up, Houston Astros are at Kansas City. They don't face any lefties. They face Brady Singer, Bolaños, and Hazley. It's like who and who? Exactly. Cue up the Astros outside of Singer. They're probably going to have a very big weekend. Kansas City Royals with Cheese. That same series are home versus Houston. 1 lefty in Framble. The lineup notice that Kyle Isbell is back off the IL, but only played 1 of 3. So not that you're really starting him, but I'm just trying to keep an eye on pieces that we have had our eyes on this season. Angels from LA are in Philadelphia, face no lefties, but it's Eflin, Wheeler, and Gibson. Going to be a tough go there. I noticed Marsh has sat the last 2 versus lefties. This is a little weird. I really like Brandon Marsh. No lefty, so he's a start this weekend. Dodgers versus the Mets, 1 lefty and David Peterson. They also face Bassett and Trevor Williams, so a bit of good, bit of bad. Cody Bellinger is back, played yesterday, and Clayton Kershaw has a rehab start Sunday. Miami Marlins, home versus San Francisco. Tough go for them. Alex Cobb, Logan Webb, Jake Junis. Oof. Lineup note there is that Brian De La Cruz has played 5 of the last 6, split 3 lefty, 2 righty. So if you're in need of playing time, circle De La Cruz. Also add Edward Cabrera and John Birdie everywhere. Milwaukee Brewers versus San Diego, 1 lefty, but they get Musgrove, Gore, and Clevenger. The big lineup note here is Kristen Hiura has played 5 in a row, 7 of 8, 4 lefties, 3 righties. So he's a go. Awesome. Willie Adames went 1 for 3 in a rehab assignment, right? We're trying to do it all. Minnesota Twins are at Toronto, face 1 lefty, that's Kikuchi. We'll also see Berrios and Gaussman. Miranda, who started to hit, has now sat 2 of 4, playing against lefties only. So I think he's a sit this weekend. I had been starting to play him in the corner spot. The Mets are at LA Dodgers, 2 lefties, Anderson and Arias. They also have Buehler sandwiched in there. Yikes. Tough go for the Mets. The lineup note is that JDD played 3 straight, and now Lindor hurt with the finger. They haven't really come out with news. They're being a bit vague, saying day-to-day, not serious, but right now, a guy like Davis, might be playing in that CI spot where we had been stuck, and kind of that's just part of the game that you're playing if you're in these 15-team draft and holds where you can't add players. So in a guy like Miranda, I have Miranda and Bobby Dalbec and J.D. Davis, right? These kind of ancillary corner pieces. There is a time and a place for them. So I think this is the J.D. Davis weekend for those guys. All right, enough of that. New York Yankees versus Detroit at home, face no lefties. Big series on deck for the Yanks. Tigers rolling out a couple gas cans. A guy you got to start is Matt Carpenter. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we got to start Matt Carpenter. Absolutely. And you know what? That reminds me, that got erased. That was the stack that got erased. I know for a fact that I had Carpenter circled. I think I also have Rizzo circled. So remember, if we're going to backtrack for those guys into daily play, stack reports, total base props, and the like. Oakland A's are versus Boston, face 1 lefty in Rich Hill, but they get Eovaldi and Pivetta. Going to be a tough go for them. Philadelphia versus the Angels, 1 lefty in Sandoval, but they'll get Silseth and Lorenzen as well. Going to be a tough go for Philadelphia. The story there is injuries. Didi is out. Segura is out. If you're stuck with those middle infield spots in those deep leagues, I think it's time to get with Stott. If you have daily ads, add Stott. Oftentimes it's early in the season to be a post-height sleeper, but he really has that feel already. Like, he was so hot. Everyone loved him. He stunk so bad that everyone just discarded him. They're calling him trash. Now's the time to get with a guy like Stott while he's cheap. Pittsburgh Pirates, against Arizona, face no lefties. The lineup here, note there is add Tucapito Marcana. That's the big add for Pittsburgh. They've been shaking it up. Pittsburgh on the come up. Really, that's the team right now where you want to be grabbing like overs futures or like just anything with Pittsburgh, because people buying low for cents on the dollar as far as Pittsburgh players goes in fantasy. People are just not interested in Pittsburgh. They think everything good that comes out of Pittsburgh is fake. The Pittsburgh pitching is good right now, and they're adding a couple of hitters. Again, this is how we're going to make our money betting on underdogs. Next up, Padres have Milwaukee Brewers are in Milwaukee at Miller. They face 2 lefties. Going to be a tough go for the Padres, who are not hitting at all. It's Corbin Burns, Aaron Ashby, Eric Lauer. Oof. Will Myers has been out, so you're circling Nomar Mazaya, who they brought up to play. Seattle Mariners are at Texas. Face one lefty. That's Martin Perez on Sunday. They'll have Dunning and Otto in the meantime. It's been a tough go for the Mariners. Lineup looking pretty steady there. San Francisco Giants are at Miami. They face one lefty. That's Castano. They'll also get Eliezer Hernandez and Pablo Lopez. Talk about a little bit of good and a little bit of bad. Listello's been sitting versus lefties also. Jock Peterson, Phil Dussault, the current world champion of fantasy baseball, had tagged me and Zach, who was also an overall guy, talking about Jock and the playing time. I didn't get a chance to address it because you want to kind of do it properly. I probably won't be able to do it now, but at least I can put my 2 cents in. When it comes to a guy like Jock, who is so productive in the heavy part of a split, I understand we're trying to look rest of season and project him, but look at the pinch hitting time. This guy, if you're trying to sit him against lefties, he pinch hits like 3/4 of the games that he doesn't start. So I just think that you got to go with Peterson. It was part of the calculus when you got into it, and the way that he spikes in production, multiple home run games, you just can't risk missing out on a guy like Peterson in this hitting environment in particular. Okay, St. Louis Cardinals have 4 games against the Cubs, so you're playing all of them. One lefty in Justin Steele. Really sad to see Gorman go down. Bader playing every day, looking really good. Tampa Bay Rays versus the White Sox. One lefty, it's Marco Gonzalez. Have Gilbert and Kirby as well. Eli White, the lineup note there, has played 6 of 7. Toronto is home versus Minnesota. One lefty in Smelter. They face Chichi Gonzalez and Dylan Bundy. Cue up those Bluebirds. Springer missed the last 2 days with an illness. I think he's okay. Have to look for him. They said he should play today. The lineup though there is a Kevin Biggio has played 6 of 7. Another guy people have discarded for dead if you're desperate for plate appearances on a good team that's starting to turn around. That's a guy that can do it. Last up, Washington Nationals are at Cincinnati. Face one lefty in Mike Minor. We'll also see Molly and Castillo. Tough go with the righties there, but the environment is so good. You think you got to start the Nats. Yadiel Hernandez and Lane Thomas are in like a strict platoon right now. Victor Robles has played 7 of 8. So that's like the fantasy go-around right there. Hope you're all digging that. Just news and notes, a little bit more viable for the people that are 10 and 12 team leagues that don't really care about lineups on Friday. And even then, running through everything where it's like, no notes. Not everyone has these. A lot of teams are facing injuries right now, and injuries are the death of platooning and maximizing opportunities. So let's dive into the bets, which has been, it's funny. So we cashed 2 days ago. We cashed a parlay. The week was paid for. Yesterday was looking pretty good. I was getting the GIFs going, no celebrating, but just my DDP, the daily 9-bag parlay, was getting ready. So I got the DDP Diamond Dallas page on the ropes in the corner, looking ready. And of course, it's really funny. Big Johnny, Mr. F5, who hates bullpens, has been posting full game parlays. I don't know why I feel like parlays, you get more run. I don't know if it's an entertainment value thing. Again, I'm very, very open about my process. And if those were F5s, they all cashed, right? The Baltimore F5 was an outright winner. The over was a winner. That was also a full game winner. But the Padres was an F5 winner. They lost. Both Baltimore and the Padres were tied in the 9th or later and blew it. So bullpens suck. Losing sucks. But hey, such is life. Que sera, sera. It's kind of par for the course. But today, let's turn things back around. Here we go. We mentioned a lot of these plays already, and I think, that's been part of the benefit of, running the full model and getting my handicapping really under my belt before I do these things early in the season. Not to say I was throwing stuff to the wall. I would never, ever do that. I just wasn't getting 100% of the data through. It was probably like 60% of the data through, and then I was trying to not say guesstimate, you're just trying to fill in the rest. Oh, this is good, this is bad, trends or whatever that we already have in the tip of our mind. Of course, listen, we're doing so much work. It's not like I would take a day off and forget everything anyway. But let's get back onto the F5 bus here. We have a couple minutes. Let's do a little bit of a breakdown. So just quickly again, if you're playing the parlays, we're doing 1/10 of a unit. This one is going off for plus 628, so it would pay for this last week, which was a loser, unfortunately. We have Kansas City F5, that Brady Singer versus Urquidy matchup. I believe we have the edge. Boston, F5 run line, right? So that one means we have to be ahead a run after 5 in this one. I love the price. Boston and Eovaldi, who is excellent. He had the bad start. Then he came back and looked great. I think he's going to get it going in that ballpark. I love pitching in Oakland. The all the foul territory eats up tons of outs. So Eovaldi's a straight up ace. The plus J rate, plus in zone contact rate. I mean, he really does everything. Some of the contact stats are starting to get away from him, but a lot of that was centered in a single start. Other side, Caprillion, 6 ERA, 800 OPS, too many fly balls, too many barrels. He's been getting beat up a ton by lefties as well. I think Devers and those boys in Boston are going to kick him around. We know the Oakland offense is just not very good. Eovaldi should shove them. And even if it's 1-zip, I think this one could be more like a 4-zip. So give me Boston to cover up the run line, F5. That one's at 1 is 110. And then San Francisco in the early game, not on the main site, early 640. I'm trying not to post anything early in the afternoon. I think there is one early game. Sorry, let me get back into that last one. I lost my place briefly. Okay, that's right. San Francisco to cover up as well. Alex Cobb, who is clearly the most unlucky pitcher, forget this season, maybe in the history of advanced statistics. Let's do the other side first. We know the Miami offense is okay, and the Giants offense is okay. I pretty much think that's a wash. Elias Hernandez has been trash. 5.77 ERA, 900 OPS, 6.5 FIP. Near 5x FIP. Really, he's really been very, very bad. He lives in the center of the plate, and I run some of these contact metrics. This is fun. We don't always get to handicap these things, so it's like detailed. He lives in the middle of the plate. His contact metric for heart rate, right? So it's a center box. I have kind of, like, I guess that's it, contact-centric metrics. Now, those aren't always like, it's not the end-all, be-all. That's just not how these things work. But at the same time, we know that a pitcher has a fly ball and barrel problem, right? Elias Hernandez, 55 fly ball, 13 barrel, almost 3 home runs per 9. Him centering the ball at that kind of rate, 29%, is really just as bad as it gets anywhere in the league. He's having a problem. So I think San Francisco has a way with Elias Hernandez. They cover him up. So all three of these are viable as standalone plays. That's another adjustment that we've made. I don't want to say parlays are stupid, but you really have to measure them, right? And that's the problem. What's the problem with parlays? You get 2 out of 3, or like you almost have it, you just don't get it. And like, you get 2 out of 3 or 4 days in a row, like we did last week, and you're like, wow, I really could have been making money with singles, again, climbing up instead of trying to hit, right? Because parlays, it's kind of all or none, really the name of the game. So I'm adjusting these plays that they're all standalone. I think it's important. And also, now that they're F5s, I have not posted these as official plays. I do post picks on Patreon, but everything is free. Don't worry. Just follow me on Twitter. The links in there. I'm just nuts right now. Starting pitcher ranks, implied team totals, jock market plays with rankings, just the whole line. We're like absolutely going out of our minds right now. And the energy level right where it was on opening day is going to be right where it was when my Yankees bring home the World Series. I like that, baby. So, all right, everyone, let me try and get normal. It's Friday. I'm getting a little wild, but hey, man, let's have a little fun with this, right? It's a lot of work, it's a lot of math, it's a lot of numbers, and it's every single day. And, we don't always win, right? So it kind of sucks. A lot of other types of jobs, lots of hard work always gets rewarded with production. In a past life, I was an electrician. You always built something. The light always went on. Or in my case, we were building bridges and skyscrapers, doing sick stuff like you really felt it. In this kind of work, you could work, and you don't always win. So I think it is important to have some fun, and that kind of helps keep that attitude positive. So we're packing KC, Boston to cover, San Francisco to cover. They all stand alone, but you can also pair them. Let's get this one across. I feel really good about this. I also think these lines are going to move. Last note for the betting crowd. And this is something, I think it really speaks to how sharp the followership is of Pat Mayo. I thank a lot of you guys for sticking around. Some of you had never heard of me before, Patty, and I do appreciate you. And it has to do with some of the feedback that we get. And, it's funny. I guess maybe it's funny, like, people try to boost, but don't worry, man, we'll get them next time. I'm like, I know. You don't have to tell me. Like, I know. Those are that's what I do. But what I really do respect is not just that, because they really are good people, but it's the closing line value is just bananas right now. I mean, every single game that we lay out in the morning is ahead of the market. Every single game. That was just every game. It's almost, if one of them isn't, it's like an outlier, and I almost feel the need to smash that bet even harder because the public has that one completely wrong. I'm dead serious, and I think that there's part of that, and that's been part of win or lose what I've done so very well in my career so far, because we're always ahead of the market, right? Kansas City might even end up as the favorite, believe it or not. I know Houston, that is one of the things that might push it from happening, but watch the Boston line go nuts. Those run lines will not be palatable at minus 110. I'd also like the Tampa Bay F5 run line with Shane McClanahan, but that one's minus 145, and that's what I expect from San Francisco and Boston in particular, that I believe the Boston minus 110 is going to move towards minus 130, and then you don't really want to play that alone, and again, getting in front of the market is what it's all about. So I hope everyone enjoyed this show today. We're bringing it best we can, right? I think my work reeks of effort. It just reeks of effort, man. I wake up very early and I care a lot about, I want to win myself, so these are the tools that I use. I like to show you as much of the stuff behind the curtain as possible, so that, you roll a Big Johnny, man. We are really hustling. We're really working hard, and that's what I think Mayo Media Net is all about, and that's why, I love it. I love it so much here. So rate, review, and subscribe to the pod. Press the like button and subscribe to the channel. Hope you're all digging the show. Sorry, I'm right up against the 25-minute mark. We got to get the heck out of here. Enjoy the games. Enjoy your day. When we're done with the book, enjoy that pay. Enjoy your weekend. Just be good to everybody. Unplug at least one day over the weekend. Don't obsess over gambling. It will eat you up. Go fulfill yourself. Doesn't have to be kids and Disney sing-alongs like me. It could be painting, writing, sports, anything that you can do that is not gambling. I think you should spend one day a week doing that. So, all right, everyone. I'll catch you on the flip side. Remember, when you work this hard, if there's a lot less like luck, yo.